All right. Three, two, one, clap.
All right.
I don't know. On my end, that sounded really off.
Well, yeah, well, they found it on my side for once, so that's good.
Yeah. All right. And hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Action Toon Bros.
Hell yeah.
I, of course, am your host, Ben Sturgeon, and with me today is, of course, the ever so talented Matthew Lewis.
Hell yeah, back again with a new series this time.
Back. Yep, new series in the I don't know what would you say, the double double feature Ben's edginess.
Hey, we just came off of we're on a pretty dark show right now, and I think what did we do before Prime? I forget. Well, that was She-Ra.
Yeah, She-Ra.
Yeah,
you had She-Ra, and I had. Oh, see, here's the thing, because I had Castlevania, and then I had Spawn. Oh, that's what it was. It was the saga of edginess.
Oh yeah.
And now, as everyone knows, we are now going to be covering the Adult Swim exclusive, Brendan Small created Metalocalypse.
Hell yeah.
And
Metalocalypse.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, so I'm 3 for 3 on the edgy scale. Like, I mean, I'm surprised I don't have bandages on my hands from all this edge.
Well, who can tell with the recording?
True. But so yeah, Metalocalypse, Brendan Small original show. I think it's one. He's worked on other ones, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I used to watch home movies all the time on Adult Swim, like in the middle of the night. The show, yeah.
That's right. He was home movies, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was like about him pretty much as a kid, like with the
yeah.
Silly.
Okay. Yeah. I forgot he did that as well. And I'm not sure. Didn't he work on some Venture Brothers? Not all of it.
I think he did work on a good amount. Yeah, he worked on a ton of the Adult Swim
Yeah, on a
stuff.
good amount.
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know he did the Bat Metal stuff.
Oh, wait, he did?
Yeah.
I thought they only used his music.
No, it looks like he's like listed as one of the people on it. So, oh.
Well, there you go. But either way, so Brendan Small, obviously we've already listed a few of his works. Talented man. Some of the shows, you know, are Adult Swim shows, so some of them are awkward, some of them are funny as hell. Yep. But this one was because he's also a musician. He also plays metal. And he's very fantastic on it. Like, if you go to Spotify, he has his own channel on Spotify, and it's like original music that's not just Dethklok. And if you like death metal, he's really good at it.
Oh yeah, the music in this show is really fantastic, and I like literally bought the albums like multiple times on different music sources too.
Right. But this is supposed to be his satire show on death metal bands and like a whole different other things, like, you know, government, like just society as a whole, fandoms
stuff.
There's a lot
is really funny.
Yeah, there's a lot that this is supposed to satire.
Satirize? Is that what you're trying to look
for? Yes. I meant to say satirized, my bad. But this is also like, you know, it's supposed to satirize death metal as one of the things. So obviously it gets really brutal and dark and violent and fill in the blank with any other word. But trust me on this one, I wouldn't put this one on the show, this one particularly, if it didn't have a home for, like, in my heart for this one.
Absolutely, yeah.
because holy shit, this show, it's a bit of a train wreck. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'll be the first to say it can be a bit of a train wreck at times, but once it has once you catch on to the cohesive story, it's actually not bad at all.
I was gonna say the humor is what the thing that stands out the most for me, because I genuinely find so much of the humor is absolutely incredible, and it's one of the best things on Adult Swim because of the actual steady funniness of it alone. Yeah. So any weird crazy stuff that happens, it's all in good fun because the show is very hilariously written, like most things on Adult Swim.
Absolutely. And it was and to give you fellow listeners a fair warning about this one, as I've done with all my other edgy ones that I've done in the past. This one was early 2000s. I think it was, what was it? Was it actually 2000, 2001 when it first started?
2006 to 2013.
Thank you.
Was the original run, yeah.
Yeah, 2006 was when it first started, And so obviously there's a lot in this show that we're not going to necessarily say, but there's a lot of things that did not age well. So like I've said in Castlevania, and as I've said in Spawn, when it comes to watching this show and the special and the movie that we will also cover on this, viewer discretion is advised.
Oh yeah.
We ain't your moms. We're not going to tell you not to watch it.
Yeah, I was going to say,
don't say we didn't warn you.
Unlike Spawn, I would say that this is at least doing it ironically, and not like, this is cool way like Spawn was trying to do with all of its problematic stuff.
That's true.
This show is very much being very
true.
tongue-in-cheek and funny with all the like absurdly terrible stuff that happens and people say and do and stuff like that. So at least they're being overtly funny, unlike Spawn, it was like supposedly deadly serious with its ridiculousness.
Yeah, so and that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to cover this show after Spawn specifically, because we saw what someone can try to do when they're trying to be serious, and it just comes out to be edgelord central, versus what we're going to be covering today, which is intentionally supposed to be bullshit. But now, now, if I remember correctly with you, Matt, you are a fan of metal, right?
Yeah,
like metal music as a whole.
Yeah.
Because see, this was also back in my days of oh my gosh, I'm an edgy teenager in high school. I'm now listening to metal, and so this was one of the shows I decided to watch because it was edgy, it was funny, it was death metal. So, but yeah, so there might be a few on-topic questions, there might be a few off-topic questions, but now we've waited long enough. It's been almost 10 minutes, so let's begin with Season 1, Episode 1 of Metalocalypse, known simply as
The Curse of
Dethklok. See, you're much better at it than I am. You're like when it comes to the voices, you're definitely Nathan Explosion, where I'm like Pickles the drummer in our voices. So we start...
I was gonna say we're gonna save the intro for the band for the actual intro because we have to like go over the whole each individual member soon.
Oh, dude, I will legitimately quote that shit if you want. But
Me too, dude. And we can literally like trade off the characters when we get there. But let's start where the episode opens at.
Actually, in this episode, we're gonna do it a little differently.
Oh,
but anyway, we start off with just this really dark castle-esque stone interior with like it looks like a kitchen where we see a chef in front of a very, very like big fireplace, and he starts doing this little prayer. I mean, I know the words to it, and it's actually somewhat important to the story, but we're not going to do that yet. We're not going to talk about that yet.
Yeah, but also we know that this is Chef Jean-Pierre, and he seems to be afraid of something, like specifically the band, we learn.
Yep. And immediately we get like an to summon him.
Yeah.
And thus, in front of a table, we see the essence of an actual death metal band. Like you see the long blonde haired guy who's probably a guitarist, the big buff long black haired always scowling guy, and every single one of them look like they could kill a man with just a look.
Yeah, they're all
and
very,
the first thing we
looking.
see the band doing, the first thing we see the big buff what may be the main guy because he's in the middle do. He picks up a very, very tiny cup and sips from it.
Yep, a little espresso he's drinking out of.
And then in a foreboding voice, he says, "Approach us."
Yep.
And as Jean-Pierre comes a little closer, they all talk about if he's aware what happened to the last chef that they had. And through very, very, very silly antics, like we have one of the guys who... What kind of a hairstyle does he have?
I like they said later they refer to as like a dry triangle shape head of hair. I'm assuming you're talking about.
He's got a certainly a hairstyle, and he also talks in a little bit of a lisp kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we have the other two, the blonde and this other long brown-haired guy sitting at the end of the table, who are extremely foreign. I think they're Norway.
There's some sort of Scandinavian somewhere in there.
Yeah, they're Scandinavian, yep. And they're like butchering the English.
They can't say hovercraft. It's very,
they can't. Yeah, hovercraft. And long story short, what they're trying to tell Jean-Pierre in this funny way is that the last chef that they had got his face smashed in by a hovercraft, and then from the sorrow, he blew his brains out.
He blew him brains out.
But it made for great album cover.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, "What do you think about that?" And Jean-Pierre is just like, pretty much like in a very, very violent way. It like talks about how he would rather die than just not serve various cheeses to Dethklok.
Yeah, it's very, very funny.
As the massive helicopter that they are in just goes through a flock of doves.
Yep.
Because this is, I warned you, this is a very edgy show, but they're doing it on purpose and, to be satirizing things. But then, as that happens, from the Prime Minister of Norway, Jean-Pierre's like, here's a bottle of the finest wine. We have like several cases of, in which case the guy in the middle just death metal. It's like, no, we never drink before show. And of course, immediately we have one of the guy with the list, like, I'll just guzzle some.
Yeah.
And then every time someone says "me too," you see more and more bottles.
Yeah, they're all like, drinking right before the show.
Me too. And whereas the guy at the far, our far right, who has like red dreadlocks, he's got the most bottles.
Yeah.
And then of course after it's like "me too, me too, me too." The main guy just goes, "Me too."
And this is when we burst into the intro.
Yep, and we view the intro, which now again, I would tell the lyrics of it. I'm not going to this time because I want to introduce the characters a little differently than we usually do.
Oh, wow.
And by that I mean we're going to introduce them when they get introduced in the show.
I must say my notes aren't that specific. That's going to be on you.
After the most tradition, like the most, just the most basic death metal intro ever to the show, like flashing lights, them painted in black and white and everything. We actually get newscasters talking about like how the band is going to do a show in Batsfjord, Norway.
Yep.
And they're only performing one song. And that one song is not even a song. It's a jingle for a place called the Duncan Hills Coffee.
Yep.
And like we're seeing like all these different things. Like, one of the newscasters is like, "Is Dethklok selling out?" "No," says Dethklok frontman Nathan Explosion, and we get Nathan talking about how they're here to make coffee metal.
Yeah.
They're gonna make everything metal, blacker than the blackest black times infinity.
And this is when we get introduced to a concept that's going to be very important to the series as a whole. We see fans signing pain waivers so that if any harm comes to them, the band's not responsible.
Literally, yeah. Literally, they're not pain waivers. No matter what happens, the band is not responsible. And yeah, like we said, that means anything can happen. Like, we get some of the band, like some of the like fans, like, "Hey, my eye got torn out."
I was gonna say that character specifically. Did you know that is a reoccurring like Cartoon Network character, the dude with the bandana and the like mutton chops?
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. He's a recurring character for a lot of things, actually.
Yeah.
If you want to list a few, go ahead.
Oh no, I don't have the specific list off the top of my head, but I do know he was like one of the main like recurring people in Megas XLR and like a couple of other like YouTube shorts and stuff like that. I couldn't find a like specific thing. I didn't get a chance to look it up. But yeah,
like, absolutely. But yeah, But yeah, in this one, it's like we talk about like different band, like what the band's done, like what happened during the show, like a lot of them getting disfigured in some ways. But then all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, what's this? It's Dethklok." We see the giant freaking like so big helicopter that it shouldn't be legal.
Yeah.
And then, like Matt said, we get one of the most reoccurring jokes ever in this series. So, the giant, like, metal case that has the band in
it's like an enormous cube, like the size of a mountain.
There's like a lineup thing. There's like, here's the spot it needs to land. It comes out of the helicopter on, like, parachutes. And then, like, when it hits a certain point, the parachutes fly off. It starts falling down, and then it misses the mark entirely and smashes on, like, a quarter of the people there.
Yeah, and then they all start cheering. You're like, yeah, it's so silly.
And then, as the music starts, the four corners of the cube unfold and smash even more people.
Yeah,
and this is where we get from the extended version of the first Death album, a song known simply as the Duncan Hills Coffee Jingle, which it was originally not released in the original Death album, but later on, like actually a few years ago, recently, they re-released it as an extended one to add other songs. And this was one of them that got added.
Yeah,
and
so really, it's
and obviously.
Because, like, yeah,
and I mean,
you folks like
it's
coffee.
Literally,
and he's like, this really ridiculous jingle about the coffee.
It's literally just a Duncan Hills coffee jingle, death metal, while everyone's getting cream and scalding hot coffee poured on them.
Hell yeah!
And then as the pyrotechnician guy, like the fireworks and everything are going off, we see some of the fireworks like bounce off each other and hit exactly in the kitchen of the chef, Jean-Pierre, who flies out the window and then immediately gets chopped to bits.
Yeah, he flies into the propeller and gets like sliced up ridiculously.
And immediately after that, we see screens of this happening, and we see this group of people just sitting watching this, where one guy is like, gentlemen, we see that Dethklok is a threat. Everywhere they go, everything's being destroyed. And what, like, this one, like, generic looking military general guy.
I was gonna say the military dude introduces him after or before the guy does the intro for that.
In the second. The introduction to the band is coming up soon. Actually.
Yeah.
Because he's like, wow, what a bunch of freaks, and the guy like who's like in the front, showing the screens, is like, these freaks, as you call them, are currently worth billions.
Yep.
And then, by the way, this guy who's talking is voiced by Mark Hamill, of all people.
Hell yeah.
And yes, listeners, that Mark Hamill.
He's gonna voice a lot of characters
like,
in the series.
Luke Skywalker, Joker, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, that Mark Hamill. And he's like, gentlemen, and by the way, word for word, Squizgar Squigelf, who is the blonde-haired one, taller than a tree. Toki Wartooth, the other Scandinavian with the brown hair, not a bumblebee. William Murderface, who's the guy with the lisp, mind you. Pickles, the drummer, doodly doo, ding dong, doodly doodly doo, and he's the guy with the red like cornrows. Nathan Explosion, aka the lead singer.
Yep.
And after he says all of that stuff, except for the descriptors for the viewers. After he says all of those things, he says, I'm afraid that's all we know about them.
Yeah, very, very funny.
which is funny, because like the Squizgar Squigelf, taller than a tree, Toki Wartooth, all that stuff is actually verbatim the words to the fucking death opening.
Yeah, the
death
intro.
theme
The intro theme
of the intro cards. And these guys who look like a top secret government thing, that is all they know about them. And of course, it's like, if these, and the military guys is like, if these guys are a threat, we should immobilize them immediately and get rid of them. But then the guy who's sitting in the big chair, like behind, who looks like he's got this long white hair. He just looks menacing just by looking at him in a very like creepy tone. Also voiced by Mark Hamill, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
No, we wait.
Did you mention the Pope-looking guy says that there's a prophecy about them? And
the general thank you. I skipped that one.
Yeah, the general, another member
of
the council, says that they should just kill them.
No, you're right. I skipped a few things. I got a little too excited. But after the I'm afraid that's all we know of them. A Pope-looking figure. I think he's actually a cardinal, but we don't know his name yet. He's like, may I remind you of the Sumerian artifacts? And you see like an old carving of what looks like the metal band. He's like, the resemblance is indisputable. And then that's when the general's like, well, if that's them, then we should like immobilize them immediately.
Yeah, kill
them. And then the foreboding guy's like, we'll wait.
Yep. And then we cut to what I'm going to assume is some kind of weird hospital on their ship.
Oh no! This is actually at their home.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. In their big like looking home thing, you see that Jean-Pierre somehow is still alive, and the band's talking about like, yeah, are all of our workers cursed? And they're like, no, we don't think so. The chefs, though. Oh, yeah, the chefs, they're definitely cursed. And just to give you an idea of the intellect of this band, mind you, Squizgar, the blonde-haired guy, the lead guitarist, is trying to make coffee by putting it in the toaster.
Yep.
And even Pickles, the drummer, is like, wait a minute. Guys, this whole life support thing, it's costing us like $10,000 a day to keep him alive. It's like, whoa, that's crazy. And of course, Murderface is like, well, I guess the best thing about this is that, you know, maybe we don't have we don't have to. He doesn't have to cook for us anymore. And they're like, you know, and Toki's talking about how he's depressed and he's gonna need some days off. Yeah. And Murderface is like, what are you talking about? I'm the fat one. Maybe it's good. Maybe I can just start losing all of this. And he like lifts up his shirt to show his like fat belly, tattooed belly.
Grabbing his stomach too.
And then it's just like, yeah. And then everyone just like goes silent after all of that. And Toki's like, well, I'm starting to get hungries, but it looks like we starve. Well, what are we gonna do now?
Yep.
And so we go to Matt.
I was gonna say they get the idea. Why don't they go to a food library?
What? Now hold on a second.
Yeah.
They go. Do you remember what the store is called?
I didn't get the name of it now.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one of the things that you're gonna have to start catching on now with this show. They go to a grocery store called Fintrolls, which is directly in reference to the metal band, the Finnish metal band called Fintroll.
Okay. I was gonna say, I know that, like,
yes,
there are and Squizzy are like, we need to go to a food libraries, and then like they're like, yeah, we gotta make food like regular jack-offs.
Yeah, right. Because you know, they're Scandinavian. Squizgar is Swedish, while Toki is Norwegian. Mm. But they're like, what's this? It is called food libraries. Because, you know, making, I guess, insert joke about, like, Scandinavian people not knowing
I was going to say more like the band is pretty stupid and they don't know what a grocery store is. Oh, yeah,
dude, the band is really fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to see in episodes to come, this band is really fucking stupid.
Yeah. But anyway, as they're preparing to go to the store, and Nathan's like, remember, booze ain't food. And they said, Mike, fucking, I'd rather kill myself than not have booze. And they like refuse to believe him. He's like, no, we got to get actual food.
Yeah. They're like, yeah. You each got a paper with what you need to make, and don't just buy booze. So as they're going out, we see Nathan Explosion has to make. Yes, I wrote this down, mind you.
I was gonna say we're already running way longer than the actual episode for the first episode.
Nathan has to make a Spanish dish, and so he like breaks through the glass, like the meat counter glass, with his head. And then like Murderface needs to make lemon tart. And since olives are not in lemon tart, he decides to, you know, do what he does best. And then Pickles has to make lobster bisque, but when you look in his cart, it's nothing but booze.
Yeah.
Hey chief, does this go in soup? No. That's a yes. And like we see even like Nathan like need 2 cups of rice, and he literally pours 2 cups of rice in a measuring cup and tries to pour it in his cart. And then of course we get we get like Toki like, who is Walnuts? And of course Squizgar is just making fun of him.
Yeah, he like grabs a box of tampons and says, "Hey, you have ladies' tampons. You're a girl," and he's just like, "You're a girl." Squizgar's like, "No, I'm not." It's a very
I love that because it's like I love that because the moment Toki's like, "You a lady," Squizgar like got super offended by that.
Yeah, that's very, very silly.
And then of course, you know, like they just shenanigans ensue. So it's like they go back home and it's like, put all the ingredients in this thing here. And Toki's like, no, we forgot the things at the food place.
Yeah, they forgot all the food at the food store after they left, and then just
they bought all of that food and just funny. Did not. And yeah, he screams at the camera, goes like literally like decides to go down his throat for some reason, and so they're like, Jean-Pierre, come on, don't be a dick, be a dude, cook something for us. And then they're like, you know, guys, we would have to sew him back together. But we're such screw-ups that we'd sew him back together wrong. Whoa! That's a nice song title. And during the ending credits stuff, it says, like, they start singing a song that was never released, mind you.
It was just a quick thing for the
on any platform, called Sewn Back Together Wrong. And apparently Jean-Pierre is back in business.
Oh yeah, we see him. He's like, his thumb's all weird, and he's all like screwed up, and there the band's like really like upset looking at him what he looks like now. But that's the end of the first episode.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a very, very funny episode.
And that's how it ends. That's just how the episode ends. So yeah, that's a start to a show, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's very, very hilarious. It's nice and true to the band of seeing how like dumb they actually are, because they just like did all that dumb stuff, didn't know how to make food for themselves, and then left it at the store. It's very, very funny.
Oh yeah, and there's going to be a lot of that. But question of the day. Question of the day for you, Matt. The after episode question. Speaking of, since you know this is a metal show, right?
Yeah.
What is your favorite metal band?
Let's see.
Do you need some time to think?
I think in high school I listened to a shit ton of Rammstein because of these 2 Russian dudes who I was friends with introduced me to Rammstein, and so I had like a ton of their stuff back in like that would have been like the early aughts, so around this time. Yeah. So I think probably.
But what about now?
Modern wise, I don't think I've listened to much new stuff. Probably like I still have like old System of a Down.
Oh no! It doesn't have to be a new band. Just like today, if you were to have a go-to metal band to listen to, who would you listen to?
I would say, I don't know if the Psycho Stick count. I just recently started.
Yes, they do. Back on surprisingly enough, yes, they do.
I just started putting their stuff back on my Spotify list recently because I just like rediscovered them a couple weeks ago. I sent like a funny video to our group chat. So yeah, probably Psycho Stick because I had that album also back in high school and stuff like that. But like, their music is still absolutely funny and hilarious.
Yeah, for me, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm trying to avoid saying this as the answer because, well, one of my go-to metal bands, because of the rekindling a few months back, almost a year ago, is actually Dethklok.
Of course, you're wonderful.
But to like, you know, like to avoid that because that's kind of like a cop-out answer because we're talking about this show.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, I know in your Primal episode that we did for season 2, episode 1 of that, I did mention that I listened to Amon Amarth.
Yeah.
Very good metal band. But yeah, actually, you know what? I have too many favorites. Like, I don't really pick favorites except for like that certain few. I would say Dethklok, Amon Amarth, or even well, screw it. I'm going to say the other 2, Cradle of Filth and Hammerfall.
Ooh, nice.
Four choices. I could go with my top 5, which means in no particular order. This was in no particular order, mind you. A 5th one would be Lordy, but you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, like I said, it was supposed to be your favorite of all time. But you know what? Whatever. Just but you said Psycho Stick. You have a rekindling for that.
Yeah, just recently. Like I said, I love all their music and it's really fun to fucking listen to. Just blast.
do you have an actual like favorite song of theirs, or is it just one of those I just like listening to the band period?
Honestly, between the Hokey Pokey one and ABCs of Death, is that what it's called? The song?
Yeah, ABC Death.
Yeah,
yes.
ABC Death is wonderful, and also the counting one I put in, I can only count to 4, is fucking amazing. It's just
when it comes to Psycho Stick, I can only count to 4 is a hilarious parody. ABC Death is just batshit crazy. But I think one of my actual favorite ones from Psycho Stick is I forget what it's actually called, but it's the one where he's afraid of the duck.
I don't know if that one off the top of my head. I haven't listened to much of the new albums yet. I'm gonna look that up through all their stuff, but yeah, we'll find that one eventually.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna look that one up because I have my Spotify right here. But it's just like I know it's about being afraid of the duck.
Yeah, all their music's absolutely great. I haven't listened to any of their newer stuff, but I really gotta look at it because I have like so much music shit that I listen to. But I'm also constantly listening to fucking audiobooks and like 1,000 different podcasts and shit like that. But when I do listen to music, I like to have my list is like.
That's what it was called. Yeah, that's what it's called. From their 4th album in 2014, Revenge of the Vengeance. Nice. The song I was talking about is called Quack Kills.
Quack Kills?
Yep, Quack Kills.
Nice.
I mean, dude, we're talking about an album where they sing about hailing the new president called President Rhino, Rhinoceros Commander-in-Chief. So
all this stuff is ridiculous, and I love them to death.
They're very, very funny. But anyway, speaking of really funny stuff, we now have. Let's go on to our second episode of season 1 of Metalocalypse, the episode known as Death Water.
Hell yeah!
We start off with with like an incredibly badass like fucking Viking music video. To any of you who've played Guitar Hero know this song. Thunder Horse.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like one of the few songs that didn't have too many swear words in it. That's why they were able to use it for Rock Band and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it is like one of the only ones because literally, Thunder Horse, riding, revenge. Those are like the only words that are used in Thunder Horse.
Yeah, we see like the cool spiky Viking Nathan is like going through it. The episode just like opens up with Nathan in his crazy spiky Viking outfit, literally killing like various members of the band as like serfs and people like guards and like just like regular like castle ward people, and he's just going through killing them all. And it's really fucking crazy.
And then Squizgar, who's like the enemy leader, gets like it's just it's very metal, it's very Viking. Which, by the way, Thunder Horse is absolutely in the first Death album.
Of course.
And then all of a sudden you see the band like listening. Nathan stops, cracks his fingers, and
I was gonna say the program looks a lot like Audacity, which is very funny because that's what we're using.
yeah, right. It looks almost exactly like it, only with different colors.
Yeah.
And he goes to press delete, and Pickles is like, guys, hold on. Before you do anything, let's put this in perspective. Puts up a whole bunch of different newscasts that are like, Dethklok had like 16 different albums, all deleted by headman Nathan Explosion. The Dow Jones, which apparently is linked to this particular band, is now down because they haven't made a new album.
Yeah, the world economy is crashing. There's mass suicides. It's just absolutely chaos.
And then, as they're all saying, don't do it, he deletes it. And of course, it's like, what are we gonna do? What is it not heavy? Is it not deep enough? And well, we're gonna have to re-record it. And Nathan's just like, yeah, we're gonna re-record it right there. Points at a globe in a particular spot, and then we get. Now I can actually do this. The death theme. Do anything for Dethklok. Said a few times.
Yeah.
Then Dethklok, I'll teach you who rocks. and then literally what the guy said in the group, the government group. Squizgar Squiggle, taller than a tree. Toki Wartooth, not a bumblebee. William Murderface. Pickles the drummer, doodly doo, ding dong doodly doodly doo. Nathan Explosion. And that's it.
Yep.
That's the death theme.
I didn't try. I almost never skipped. Very funny.
Which, again, mind you, because I'm going to be doing this a lot, the death theme is the last track of the non-extended version of the Death album.
Yep.
But in the extended one, it goes that song and then there's more. But anyway, we get to see a man whose introduction is going to take way too long to get to.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So we're going to introduce him now. So we're going to introduce him now. The CFO, known as Charles Foster Offenston.
Yep, he's their manager, I'm assuming. Right?
Yeah, he's like the literal CFO of the band, which is why his name is what it is.
Yeah.
Funny story, but yeah, he's their like manager, the guy who makes sure he's like the PR man, and he does everything that the band does except for perform.
Yeah. And so
he's not really introduced. He's just
no. He's not the producer. I was saying.
No, he's not. Oh no, he's not the producer. No. But yeah, he's just sitting here like, okay, so he looks like a normal, like glasses, suit, hair, just a regular businessman. So you want to re-record in the ocean, okay? And of course, Nathan being over inside the open in the Mariana Trench. He's like, and he's like, okay, He takes a few minutes, and it's just like, okay, I talked to our producers. They said I talked to the label. They said they're willing to fund it, but they are gonna need to bring a producer down there to work with you. And of course, Nathan is angry at this. And we cut back to this government group.
I really just wrote like evil group in my notes till we find out their name like years from now.
Yeah, years from now. You know what? You're right. It's going to be a long time before they're introduced. This is a group known simply as the Tribunal.
Yep.
And of course, he's like the main guy who is a senator. I forget his name, but he's an actual like senator. He's just like, gentlemen, it appears that Dethklok is going to record in a submarine. And then the general's like, yeah, a nuclear submarine. It's like, this could be devastating. And the general's like, but we have a man in the inside. His name, the producer that we're going to have is named Dick Magic Ears Nubbler.
Yeah. One of my favorite characters of this series, honestly.
Yeah. Sorry, my notes got. We
get some history on him. We find out he's a massive criminal. He's like tons of extortion, all kinds of drug problems. He's just a huge piece of shit. The general,
and of course, he will do like literally anything we want. And he's like, okay, and of course the senators is like, good, he'll be our man on the inside. And then we get to like, and then the man on the chair, I forget what he's. Oh wait, no, that's what it was. He was like, yeah, he could be our man on the inside. And the general's like, what are you talking about? If these guys are as dangerous as you say, we need to go. Now's the time to strike. Now's the time to kill them. And the weird guy on the chair is like, no, it is not time to kill him. It is too soon. Be patient. Mm-hmm. And then we get like them just a recording montage.
Yeah,
5 months.
Yeah, months and months pass. And when they listen back to the tracks, they see that Toki's guitar playing is picking up some kind of weird noise.
It's picking up whales.
Yep, they find out specific
hey,
whales.
And it's like, hey, we could isolate him, and so they put him in a liquid oxygen isolation tank. And the first thing that the guy who is helping says is like, all right, he will die without this briefing. And Squiscar immediately is like, okay, I'll take it from here, thanks. Oh, hey, and like it starts filling up, and Toki's freaking out, like, dude, what's going on? I think I need that briefing. Oh, hey, by the way, I wanted you to be here because of food. It's like he's talking about food when Toki needs like instructions on how to not die in liquid oxygen. But then he gets set down, and Dick Nubbler appears, and oh my god! Speaking of amazing reoccurring characters, this man right here.
Yeah, he's absolutely.
It's just hilarious. Like he is, and he's just like, hey guys, let's just. He faints.
Yeah, from getting off. He gets off the sub to get to their thing. He's like,
and then like it cuts to Toki going deeper in, and then we get Dick Nubbler being like, hey guys, I think I made the trip too quickly, so the boys didn't get like adjusted to the pressure, which is going to be totally okay after some pop rocks and coke.
Yeah, it's very stupid.
And then of course we get Dethklok like, okay, listen to this. This is gonna be the first song in our album. It's called Mermaid. Which is the very first song on the first Death album, mind you.
Yep, he says that this song is made for fish.
No, this entire album is made for
the
fish.
Whole album is.
And the first one, Mermaider, it's about mermaid murder. And of course, we just see like we hear the music going, which is just Nathan going, Mermaider, Mermaider. And like, it's like blowing this guy's like face and hair like way back.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And then we get another pseudo-reoccurring thing. We get Toki Wartooth singing songs in like a kind of like a rockish kind of way.
Yeah, like a much softer rock
and he's just
like
style. All happy,
happy
and cheery while some trippy-ass fucking thing is going on right now. It's just funny. Like singing about underwater friends and everything like that. We actually forgot before Nubbler came to the sub. The nuclear sub power just like went out.
Yep.
And they tried to fix it, and they fixed it, but there was also a leak, and it was starting to transform a seahorse.
Yeah, we see and while Toki's underneath recording the Underwater Friends song, he sees a gigantic like seahorse monster thing like going by his tube. It's very, very funny.
And then back at Nubbler's, Mermaider, stop everything. This is incredible. You said this is intended for fish? What an untapped market. And all of these songs you have, and some of the songs that are listed which are not on the album. All of these songs are not on the album, mind you. Electric Eel Chair, Scaled and Gutted and Undercooked, Scuba Tank Filled with Farts. And Nubbler's just like, you guys cornered the market here. I am back on top. I'm going straight to the label. And even Pickles is like, you know what, Nubbler? You ain't such a douchebag after all.
Yeah.
And Toki like comes out of the water. He's like, it's not safe. There are monsters there. And it's like, and Dick Nubbler, man. He's just like, yeah, when the label gets this, they're gonna shit fish. Literally.
He's like a really funny thing.
And then and then as he's using his sub pod to like go back to the surface, we get the general who's like, all right, tell us what dear God, because Nubbler's eyes are literally like, it looks like he's crying blood.
Yeah.
This is like, dear God, what did they do to you? It's called metal. It's called metal. Take that and shove it, and we actually get his name drop. His general's name is General Crozier.
Yep.
He's like, and of course he's like freaking out. Like, what have they been doing? And he's like fanboying about how the metal
taking names.
and Crozier's like, dude, what are you doing? And then he gets attacked by the giant seahorse thing while Thunder Horse plays in the background, and he's trying to like drive the pod away, trying to
going up too fast,
like reemerge from the water, and the pressure valves are acting up. And by the way, Matt, I timed this, mind you. I timed this.
Of course you did.
For 26 seconds, we get a very slow zoom in on Nubbler's face as he is screaming for 26 seconds straight, followed immediately by his eyes literally popping.
Yeah.
And then of course we get to the end credits thing where it's like, hey, we found this guy out in the ocean with a sub pod, and it's Nubbler without any eyes. Hey, Dethklok came out with a new album thanks to Dick Nubbler, and he's got like mechanical eyes now.
Yeah, you see in the corner he has like new eyes, and the album's very much doing very well.
Yep, and already hitting platinum, etc., etc., and that's where the episode ends.
Yep, a very good episode.
Matt, question of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 3 songs that were listed, Electric Eel Chair, Scaled and Gutted and Undercooked, and Scuba Tank Filled with Farts.
Yeah.
which one of those songs would you would you have wanted on the Death album?
Probably Electric Eel Chair, but I'm assuming it's going to be similar to like the one we get later, Bloodrecuted. But it's still probably be the Electric Eel Chair. Sounds funny.
Honestly, for me, it was either Electric Eel Chair or Scaled and Gutted and Undercooked. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, what about Scuba Tank Filled with Farts? Because that sounds like a murder.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was the quick scene with Murderface eating beans and like farting and having his disgusting feet out in the sub, and everyone being disgusted by him and like hating him for being so gross. Yeah, it was a really quick scene.
Yeah,
but it was
absolutely.
very funny. I was like, yeah, I assumed that was just like his idea.
Right. But yeah, so there's really not much to talk about. Everything really got described.
Well, in terms of like recurring characters, we finally get Crozier's name. Like I said, Dick Nubbler sticks around for
we got Crozier's name, really and
he's very funny and like douchey, but really cool.
Yeah, General Crozier got name dropped. We actually got to meet our first reoccurring character. Well, other than the Tribunal, we got our first reoccurring character
with their manager, Charles.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We got two. We got Charles, which he's still not introduced as Charles, but screw it, it's going to take a while. And we get Dick Nubbler.
Yeah, I feel like actually get after the pilot of the first episode was just like showing how silly the band is. We actually get to see their team and like how they actually do accomplish anything because they're so like ridiculously dumb. It's very, very cool to see like the actual crew together, who like actually like helps them to get anything finished.
And speaking of ridiculously dumb, we're going to go immediately to episode 3 of this show, titled Birthday Face. Yep. We start off in Munich, Germany, where the band is like, on bass guitar, William Murderface. And now here's the thing. Like, it's bass solo time. But in order for us to get an idea as to how talented Murderface as a bassist is, he drops his pants, and we get the back view, obviously not the front view, of him playing his bass with his dick.
Yeah, it's very funny.
We also get, like as he's playing the bass, some guy like starts going on stage and gets headbutted by Murderface.
Yep.
And we're talking like heavily headbutted.
Yeah, like literally broken nose, like bloody face, and like knocked to the ground while he continues to play. Back at home, as they're just lounging, we find out that the guy that Murderface headbutted was a Danish prince, and last in line to the royalty. And of course, Skwisgaard being Swedish is like Dutch. Yeah. And Murderface is just like just leaves in a grumpy mood, and the band gets an Evite to William Murderface's birthday party, and we actually find out about Murderface. Who gives a piss? Like this little weird looking emoji thing is very
right. Which is actually funny because we get to learn one important thing about William Murderface that Pickles mentions. The guy's a nihilist.
Yeah.
What does he want with a birthday? So not only do we know that because Murderface, he constantly is like, dude, this is stupid, this is bullshit, it sucks kind of thing. Yeah. And we find out in this episode that he's a nihilist.
Yeah, very funny. And this when Nathan is like,
Nathan's like, we got to get him a gift, don't we? And then the title card goes through.
Yep.
And then we go immediately to the Tribunal saying.
Oh, isn't there like a news footage of saying like the fans are causing mass destruction for Murderface's birthday?
No, you're right. Yeah, it's like everyone around the world is like destroying everything, and like because it's Murderface's birthday. Then we get the Tribunal where the main senator guy is like, we've censored the media on this because if they found out, God help us all. Here to talk about, our birthday specialist.
Birthday expert, Dr. Gibbets.
Yeah, our birthday expert is, Dr. Gibbets. And it's just, and this random, and by the way, this is the first time we get a guest at the Tribunal. Yeah. And there are many more to come. It's going to be
a very funny reoccurring bit for coming in the future with that.
And Gibbets is talking about, like, Murderface's past and how, like, he tries to get through every day by like self-harm and a bunch of other things too, and how like this birthday is going to be one of the most deadliest birthdays ever. We get like all the fans and everything just going to Murderface's birthday party. A whole line of people offering gifts to Murderface.
We also the band we see the quick scene of the band still not knowing what to get him, and then they mention that they have to have a metal cake at some point.
Oh yeah, the birthday cake has to be totally metal.
Yeah, and Nathan finally says this thing: "We'll have to get him the blackest gift of all."
Yep, we have to give him the most blackest gift of all, and I know what it is.
Yep.
The Danish prince is there, and he's getting a lot of bullshit presents, and the Danish prince is like wanting an autograph, and Skwisgaar signs immediately on his bandage.
Yeah, the kid wants Murderface. He's like, "What are you giving me, a pen?" And he's like, "No, he wants your signature." And then Skwisgaar grabs the pen and signs like his face, making him bleed again. It's so ridiculous.
You Dutcher scum. Then as we're out in the field, we see Jean-Pierre with the cake. And one guy's just like, "Wow, what kind of frosting is that?" And Jean-Pierre's like, "Do not sample the frosting. It's made of mercury.
Yeah,
you will die." And then Skwisgaar is like, "Ugh, this is a total sausage fest." And by the way, Toki Wartooth is very innocent boy.
Yeah, he's because very nice.
This is the Skwisgaar's like, "This is an entire sausage festival," and Toki's like, "I like sausage festivals, like in Vienna." He's like, no, Toki, that was a sausage fest. What I mean is that there's a whole lot of not good-looking girls to put in what in the sausage.
He's like, yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, sure. And of course, Toki talks about how he's going to make Murderface a macaroni murder lady. Yeah. And of course, we get Nathan like, "Hey, what's better than a birthday party? A birthday party with a clown." And we got the most rock and roll clown ever.
Hell
and thus
yeah.
we get one of the most important reoccurring characters ever.
And my favorite character of the entire series.
Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown. and then of course we're talking like
yeah, he is absolutely incredible. He's really annoying and
by the way,
slides into the scene next to Murderface.
And by the way, if we were to give him a name and title, his name would be literally Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown. I do cocaine.
Yeah, he does cocaine. That's what we know about him.
Yes. And it's funny because he's like every other thing he says in this first episode is "I do cocaine," and as he's making a balloon something for Murderface, he's like,
into a balloon to make a balloon
dude.
animal. And then he says, makes a balloon guitar, and he says, "Oh wait, let me tune it for you." And he's like tuning up the knob thing, and it pops, and he says, "Oh, you popped the string," and then he's just.
And then we get the other thing, and then we get the other thing that's reoccurring with Dr. Roxo, him getting beat the fuck up.
Yeah, the guard says, Murderface starts trying to shove the guitar down his throat, and then he starts getting beaten up by the guards. And this is when the band
and Murderface is like. Song. Yeah, and of course this song is known as "Birthday Death Day," which is on the album.
Oh yeah, it is.
And then finally the reveal. We get to see the gift that Murderface
Oh wait, not yet. Before then, we see the Queen actually tasting the icing. Before then.
Oh yeah, during the song, she samples the frosting. And, it's mercury, so she dies.
Yep, she passes out, or she dies from that, and then this is when we finally get the actual reveal for the gift that Nathan is getting for him.
All right, it's like, all right, and here's the blackest gift we could ever come up with. The box opens up, and it is Matt, take it from here.
Nothing.
Thank you. And then of course Murderface leaves in a fit of rage.
They're like, "Oh,
like, hey Fatso,
the bed's like making fun of him.
Hey Fatso, we got you your favorite thing. Disappointment." And of course Murderface goes to run away like a child, just like, "I will send my part for the rest of my parcels in the morning."
Yeah.
Flips off the guard and just starts to leave. And then you see the
I was gonna say, another important running gag we also get here. I'm gonna go start my side band, Planet Piss.
Planet Piss. Yep. And yes, this is the first mention of that too.
He also leaves out the window as opposed to like out the house. It's very stupid.
Well, yeah, like he's running away like a kid would. And then of course the band finds him and is dressed up in camouflage.
Yeah, why are you guys dressed in camo? You joining the Marines?
No, this is supposed to make us harder to see. That's kind of cool. And they give him a freaking like souped up like limo kind of thing. Murderface is like, I got like 500 other limos, and they're like, dude, not like this one. This is the car that JFK was actually assassinated in. Yeah, and the chair is the chair where President Lincoln got shot in the face. And you're the first one to be entered in the Dethklok first annual Death Demolition
Derby
Death
Clockamate.
And then Toki shows him the macaroni murder lady with red hots as the blood, but then he got hungry, so he ate them. And then, of course, Murderface is like, I get to destroy United States history, literally. Tear of blood, drives in, is like, suck it, America. And it's just him driving around as the song plays and crashing into people, and that's where the episode ends.
Yeah, very, very funny. I love this. This is like season 1. This is one of my favorite episodes. A, because Dr. Rox was introduced, but B, this episode I've probably seen the most. I think it's like the first episode I ever saw of the show. It was just all around murder.
Yeah. But then now a question of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
In your lifetime, Matt,
yeah.
Who was like your first metal band? And what I mean by first metal band is like, who was your gateway into metal? Like the band that you listened to and said, "Oh, this is metal," and it got you into metal. What was your first band? Your first metal?
Well, probably going to be the same answer as the last time. The first one I've introduced back in I think probably was like middle school going into high school, was definitely Rammstein. From the
Rammstein was actually your gateway.
My literal first band I've ever actually every time I listened to that music, because I used to hang out with those Russian dudes. Then from there I went to I think Megadeth. I also got into. I remember back probably in the 90s, before then when I was a little kid, on MTV or Beavis and Butthead and other stuff like that. I probably listened to System of a Down and all those bands from way back then. Probably casually I've heard their music and I didn't dislike it and stuff like that, but I didn't actually go out seeking it until probably the Rammstein phase when it kicked in for me. But yeah, I love their music so much. It's really, really fun. I haven't listened to it in a while. Like I said, I have way too much fucking stuff I listen to besides just music at all. But it's still I love to listen to it whenever I hear it.
My gateway was actually, surprisingly enough, Hammerfall, which not only did my oldest brother introduce me to them, and that was my first metal band, but my choir instructor in high school also listened to them. So it's just well, shit. So, but yeah, that was it was they're more of a power band kind of sound. Mm-hmm. They're not death metal. But metal is metal. I don't care what any of those elitists say. Metal is metal.
Yeah, just like the Jack Black song about metal. Oh, I guess Tenacious D's, they're a rock band. I don't know if they're metal. Well, some of the stuff is kind of metal. So, but I was gonna say because they have that song about how all the different types of music tried to kill the metal.
Tenacious D certainly is.
Yeah. Well, that's probably honestly then that's probably my favorite because I watched that movie probably not exaggerating over a dozen times from beginning to end. I just like the Tenacious D movie because you hear the lead singer of the Foo Fighters literally have to yell "fuck" the metal riff. Incredible. That scene, that song alone is one of my fucking favorites. I love that scene. Paul Tompkins as the turns into the devil. It's just so ridiculous. Yeah, I love that band. That's one of my favorite songs.
But now we're nearing the finish because we're at our second to last episode of this. Episode 4 of Metalocalypse. Death Troll. We start off in Finland, where the band where Nathan is got a recorder and he's like, yeah, here's an idea for a song. A man and he's like, a man gets eaten alive. And it happens to him forever. And he's trying to get ideas for the next album already. And Squizgar is bragging about how many ladies he what to. And Toki's rolling his eyes dude, that's stupid. And then we get Charles come in and be like, all right, Now before your apology to Finland for what happened last time, here are your death phones, which is another reoccurring thing in this show.
Very, very funny.
And
it's a deal, a deal that they made while they were drunk. Like, what do you remember you do for death phones?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you made a very convincing case. Were we drunk? Yeah. Now you have to know that you have to stop us when we do stupid things like this. Well, I tried, but you threatened to kill me. Those threats aren't new. Really? Noted. Anyway, weekend murder minutes start at 11 p.m.
Like, whoa, that's brutal.
That's brutal. And of course, Murderface is like, well, they suck. I approve. But then, of course, they're going to apologize to Finland for what happened in their last one, which all we know is that something happened.
Yeah, for the destruction that they caused. We don't know specifically what it was, though. But,
after that, we get the title card, and now we are in Espoo, Finland.
Yep.
And Nathan's just like, we are here to what the hell am I doing here? You're apologizing. You know what? I pass.
Yeah.
Murderface goes up to try to apologize, but he gets a call on his death phone and is still talking.
Yeah, he's just
Pickles is like, you know what, guys? Look.
What did she say? They literally start talking on his phone like an asshole.
We're not... Yeah, Pickles walks up and he's like, look, we're not used to the whole apologizing thing. We don't apologize. We make music. And we decided to make you a new national anthem. Taken straight from your Finnish folklore book of necronomic spells.
Yep.
And of course, they decide, and the song that they decide to perform is simply known as Awaken, which is on the Death album. But they awaken Mustakrakish, the lake troll. And then after they perform this, we see a whole lot of newscasts like, dude, Finland is blacked out. We haven't heard anything about Dethklok. We don't know what's going on. And then we get the tribunal, who is like, oh, okay, we've censored the media because something crazy has happened. Dethklok has summoned a troll. General Crozier's like, that's impossible. Trolls don't exist. And the senator looks at him straight up, verbatim, without missing a beat. Then how do you explain the dead unicorns? and the funny thing is that shuts up the general.
Yeah, it's very, very
he's
funny.
He's like, you may not have seen anything like this before, but ever since Dethklok performed that song, strange things have been happening. Here to talk to us about it is, hold on a second, I'm going to see if I can butcher this name correctly.
I have it if you're ready.
Dr. Armand Skagerak Frederick Chauvin.
Yep, Skagerak Frederick Chauvin.
Yeah, Skagerak Frederick Chauvin. I have a story about names like this. But we have this like occult specialist who's like, this is no mere troll. It took a very powerful force thousands of years ago to summon him, and Dethklok was able to do this almost immediately without even trying. They're more powerful than you imagine. Then he and the cardinal have a dick fighting competition about God will destroy, but God can't do shit. And of course, the senators is like, gentlemen, please, look, the important thing is that this is very dangerous, and we don't know what the hell we can do. And of course, the man in the chair is just like, we must look to Dethklok. And then we get, like, in Finland, we see the troll, like, destroying everything. And Charles is like, awesome. So, yeah, they're like, dude, wouldn't that have been awesome if we had a troll? And Charles is like, so you guys are going to do something about this, right? They're like, nah, we really don't want to do anything. He's like, well, this is affecting your record sales. I didn't want to say it, but there it is. And Pickles is like, wow, way to bring down the mood. Now you need a drink. Not this drink, a different drink. And not here, somewhere else. So they go to a tavern.
We also, at one point, learned that their shitty phones are all in one line. So if one of them's on the phone, they all the phone
they're all in one. They only have one line because Pickles wants to make a call, and then Murderface tries to like listen to his voicemail. It's like, you have like, it's like very, very drawn out, and even Nathan's just like, wow, this thing was designed to eat minutes. Brutal. But then, they also like go out as the troll is still breaking everything, and Nathan's like, I need 100 beers. But the bartender's like, no, we're not going to serve you. You got to put that thing back to sleep. Skwisgar, what are we gonna do? The power's out. Did you think about that? And so he reveals a chest filled with acoustic instruments, as Toki and Skwisgar love to call them, Grandpa's guitars. Ha! Those are Grandpa's guitar. That's for pussies and grandpas. And Nathan's like, you know what? This is actually a good choice because on one hand we have to use acoustic instruments, and that's completely not metal. But if we don't do this, we're never gonna have DSL again. And so you see them practicing music, and Toki like messes up one of the notes, and it's just like, wait, why'd you stop? And we learned something about Toki and Skwisgar.
Yeah,
Toki's like, I have a confession. I have music dyslexia. It's like, wait, and of course Skwisgar's like, ha, you have music dyslexia, and Toki's like, don't you have it too? Can you read music?
You can't read music either.
and Skwisgar's like, I don't like talking about it. It's like, wait, so what do you guys do? Oh, we just hit random notes and it just works. Yeah, it's actually it's like, yeah, apparently they do amazingly because they just hit random notes.
Hell yeah.
And then of course, in the middle of the lake where the troll was birthed, the troll appears, eats the old guy who's like, play the acoustics. And they start playing like a lullaby with the acoustic instruments. And it starts to work. Except Murderface's death phone goes off, and then the troll like destroys the acoustic instruments and goes on a rampage.
Yeah.
And they're all like, wait, what can we do? Wait, the death bones. All but Murderface like start to throw their like death bones, and in like epic manner, it like flies up, but then they like fall like a foot in front of them.
Yeah, they barely all suck at like, oh man, we all suck at throwing.
Very last idea for a metal song. A guy gets eaten by a troll. Murderface is like on the phone and he loses the signal. He's like, I'll fucking kill you. Literally tosses his phone. It goes inside the troll's like mouth, and the troll like freaks out.
Yeah, it starts like
ripping himself apart to try to get the phone out, and then explodes in fire and blood.
Yeah, it's very, very ridiculous.
and then of course, as everything's going, Finland's destroyed, but so is the troll. Awaken plays, and that's the end of that episode.
I was going to say, the actual credits, did you see what was happening in the credits? We see the band eating the troll meat.
Oh yeah, they're like eating the fingers of the troll and everything
they're
like that. And
they're like walking around the corpse eating the meat out of the troll. It's so stupid.
Yeah. And then of course, that's where the episode ends. I did have a question of the day for this one, but knowing the track record of the other ones I asked, something tells me the answer is Rammstein.
Well, if it's metal related, I have a very limited catalog of metal. But I was going to say,
you ready for this? You ready for this?
Oh yeah. What?
Literally, I was gonna ask you if you've ever listened to any foreign metal bands.
Well, yeah.
If so, who? If so, who? But again,
once again, my number one answer is I wish I would have included Tenacious D as metal before, because that would have definitely been my original answer for favorite band. But yeah, I would say that definitely Rammstein is number one foreign band, of course. Yeah, followed by
let's see.
Is Megadeth they're foreign, right?
I can't remember, but I think they are.
Yeah. But I was going to say...
for me...
Yeah, yours.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to butcher this name, and I apologize to all my metalheads out there. But I've recently got into a German metal band known as See, I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this. I apologize. Fairer Schwanz? Yeah, I'll spell it out for you, Matt, later on. Okay. But, yeah, it's a German metal band. They are definitely, a lot of their songs are definitely like Viking and Norse themed, but they're German. Like my two favorite songs, one of them is ridiculous and silly, but the other one is like a more serious tone. Mm-hmm. The more serious tone is Bastard von Asgar, which is about which is literally about Fenris Wolf.
Ooh, cool.
And the silly one is called Berserker Mode, and it's literally like the music video is Jesus walks into a Viking village, and they try to pump him up like Vikings.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid and it's fucking hilarious and I love it.
I was gonna say another related thing I was gonna say was about the music dyslexia thing. I was gonna say you played an instrument, correct? In like a band.
I played the drums.
Drums? Ah, okay. How good were you at reading the actual music for like the class and stuff like that?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I was exceptionally well with raw talent. So I read the music like once or twice, but then I could immediately like memorize it.
Nice. I was gonna say I played. What were you rest of your thing? Yeah, you go on.
No. No. You do your thing.
I was gonna say I played trombone in band, and I barely could fucking read music, but I got away with like years and years of playing in the band because I would just copy the movements of the other trombonists in our group. So I too have music dyslexias.
I didn't know. Yeah, I did know a few people. I did know a few people who were not percussionists that could not read music.
Yeah.
And I actually knew like 2 people when I was in high school. There were actually 2 people who legitimately had music dyslexia. So when I saw this episode, I'm like, oh shit, that's a thing. I know that thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say never tell Ed because like he absolutely loved. He was in trumpet. He played trumpet in the band, so we were always like right next to each other playing all the time. But yeah, I could like barely read the music, and I would always just copy the movement. So whenever they had to have me do a solo thing to like see who was screwing up in our band, I was always like absolutely sweating bullets because I was like, oh shit, I hope I memorize the movement. But I got away with it for years, and I was very good at my trombone. So I'm very happy about my music dyslexias, as they said.
And there you have it. But now we are going to hit the last episode of our current session right now, because there's going to be many more to come, but the last episode of this recording session, episode 5, known as Death Comedy. We start off in court, where a lawyer is like, the lyrics say, and by the way, write these down, listeners, because these lyrics are going to be on the test.
Oh yeah.
We get him reading lyrics to a song that we don't know, a nondescript song, where the lyrics are, go into the water, live there, die there, live there, die. And he's talking about how this album literally, like his clients were literally tried to drown themselves in
water. To breathe water, they said,
specifically. Yeah, and of course Dethklok is like being like nonchalant about it, making fun of the guy, and he's like making fun of the lawyer, and being idiots and like
and everyone loves him.
He's like, we demand $10 million, and Toki's like, how about we compromise? Nathan's like, we'll give you half of nothing. and then Charles wins in a snap because he holds up the album and says, this album clearly shows the side of it intended for fish only. I rest my case. And of course the judge immediately is just like, not guilty. And then of course we get the title card, and then we get like, Nathan just like, yeah, we won, whatever. And like, dude, wait, you're not happy about it? Oh wait, you're thinking of the next album, are you? He's like, yeah, but I think we might need a little bit of a break. And you like see them like golfing with
they're doing all kinds of like various different things to just like spending a bunch of money. It's very, very funny. Come on, montages them.
Right, yeah. And they're just like, they're just talking about like what they could do, because being dark and brutal for so long, it makes you forget how to be, dark and brutal.
Yeah.
And then of course Nathan and Squizguard like auction battle for a skull of what was it, Buddy Holly?
Yeah, I forget which one it was.
Or some comedian. Mm. And of course, Toki's like, what's the opposite of tragedy? And of course, Nathan in his death metal way says,
comedy.
Thank you, because you're the one who does that.
Yeah.
And then we get the tribunal like, gentlemen, it seems that Dethklok wants to start comedy. And of course, General Crozier's like, with all due respect, how is that bad? It's like, whoever owns the comedy owns the world. Gentlemen, our comedy expert...
before that, they say that like comedy has been dead for over 15 years, and if they go into comedy, they could change the entertainment industry forever. And then it's like very, very funny.
Yeah, and then they're like, our comedy expert, Dr. Donald Gorthian.
Yep.
And this guy sounds like Snoopy Dogg, and he's just like, well, with everything going on, we've been trying to dumb down the masses and control them with comedy.
Yeah, with terrible entertainment and lowering their standards and making them stupid.
With our it makes, because they're dumb and stupid, and we try to own that, with our various like government officially owned like comedy sources, like Comedy Central.
Yeah, we see in the background Swim, it's a bunch of Viacom owned
stuff. and our secret agents who have been trying to control the masses, like different comedians, like Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, see Jimmy Fallon on there and like a whole bunch of other people just like taking shots at everybody. It's saying, we're ruining comedy, so people stay stupid.
But if Dethklok actually goes and does comedy, it could ruin everything. And then we get to like some kind of like haha funny like area.
It's a Mama Yak's comedy place.
Yeah, Mama Yak's. And it's like, some guy is on there who's like, remember Decepticons? Remember Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, remember what was this? The Snarfs, or not the Snarfs, what were the
at least they weren't Smurfs or worse, Snorks. Yeah, it sounds like something you'd say when you were asleep. Snort.
And everyone's like laughing at his terrible joke.
And then Dethklok gets up there and they fucking bomb.
Yeah, they are absolutely terrible. They're completely unfunny and everyone hates it.
I mean, even though even though Nathan brought Quano, his Siamese twin, he also brought Body Bag and Body Bag's brother, Brains.
Yeah, and the Brothers of Deception, which are Toki and Skuzgar, which are just really terrible.
Yeah, and then of course we get the improv of Murderface and Pickles.
It's the best. But
Pickles gets booed off the stage hardcore.
Heckler starts talking shit to them and getting more laughs than them, and it's just really funny because he's trying to do a gas changing scene, and Murderface just walks off the stage and it's just like leaves him there.
Yeah, and of course, they're all like, upset because the other guy, the Remember That guy, did fantastic, and it's just like, you know what, and Pickles is like, no, we're not going to do this. I'm dark and brutal, and all of you are. You want to do comedy? Fine, I'm leaving. And then, of course, some weird sailor guy,
weird captain or something, offers him to help.
Yeah, just starts teaching him about comedy. And the most important thing to learn about comedy is, you hate comedy is about channeling your hate. Yeah, we do that all the time. But do you hate yourself?
Yeah.
And they learn that they need to hate themselves. So you get a montage with a song called Hatredy, which is on the extended Death album. And of course, it's just like they're doing shows and they're actually, getting laughs because they're hating themselves.
Like a montage Pickles is funny.
Yeah, and Pickles is getting like drunk and like getting into like a stupor, can't play his frickin' drums because he got booed off the stage. And so you get to see like this big, like they go to like this big event, this big comedy event, and they're like, yeah, just remember, hate yourself. And Pickles is like, yeah, well, I hate myself too. And like being booed off stage really fucked me up. He's like, yes. And the captain guy is like, don't worry, you got to go back on stage. I can't do it because the audience. And the captain's like,
gather around.
Now let me tell you.
Gather around, everybody.
Gather around, children. Yes, I've been teaching you how to hate yourself, but there's one thing you need to hate more than yourself, and that is the audience. And of course, Pickles goes up and he's like kind of awkward, and he's like, hey, guys, I went to the beach. You know what I got from the beach? Pulls out something out of his pocket and throws it at the audience. Sand!
The exact same heckler from the first comedy club is at this gigantic like theater that they're performing at. It's like this one like redneck guy on the
and he gets like sand in his eyes. And of course, there's like the donating blood joke. I donated blood, not mine. You want me to donate blood? Like, squirts a fucking hose.
Yeah.
I guess is blood because it's Metalocalypse.
Of course.
And then as all of this is happening, the ship captain like looks and goes, can't teach him no more. Pulls out a gun, shoots himself.
Yeah, it's insane.
But then of course, Pickles is like, this is as the end credits are going, shoots a gun like, I thought this was the NRA.
Yeah, just like a whole bunch of.
Any of you want to fight? Any of you want to fight? What about you, old lady? Who's like an old lady from the first time she was like they were doing. Yeah, you want to fight? Aw, I'm just messing with you. And that's where the episode ends.
Yeah, very fucking hilarious.
So, Matt.
Yeah.
Final question of the session.
Rammstein.
No, actually, no. It has nothing to do with metal bands. Question of the day: who, at this point, we've gone through 5 episodes. Who of the band is your favorite member?
Let's see. My first watch through, I would watch the show sporadically, not consistently. It was always Murderface was my favorite, just because his voice was so fun to do. He was such a dumb asshole, and and if I was ever going to aspire to do a band thing, I know when I played Rocksmith, the guitar game where you actually use an actual real guitar, I would always do bass in that, and also whenever I did Rock Band with my family or friends and stuff, I would always choose the bass. So I was always a fan of that, just because my Murderface is the bass guitarist. So he was probably my favorite the first watch through. My second watch through, it switched to Toki just because he's so funny and his songs are so funny and he's so genuine and dumb and goofy.
He's like the opposite of everyone. He's like the opposite because everyone's dark and brutal, but he's happy and cheery.
Yeah, he's very fun and very light, and he's just as stupid as the rest of them, but he's still light and fun in his stupidity. But yeah, it definitely is between those two. I think probably right now, currently on my third watch of the series, it's probably going to be Toki right now. As of right now, the first half of the season, first part of the season.
When I first watched it, it was Nathan Explosion because he was literally the big dumb guy who just always had that brooding. He's dude, he's the one guy who takes metal too seriously. He is the one guy who does that. But in my current watch through of it, it is actually tied between Toki and Pickles. Toki because he's the innocent one in a band that's dark and brooding. But I also like Pickles because he's of all 5 of them, he's the only normal one.
Yeah, he's the most normal member, absolutely.
Yeah, right. So he's the only normal one. But yeah, guys, congratulations, viewers. You have just sat through the first of many episodes of Metalocalypse. There are more to come. After all, there are 4 seasons total, and we've only covered half of season 1.
We covered 1/3 of season 1. Or
no. There's 10 episodes in season 1.
Really, I thought it was 20.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see that because I seriously thought it was
instead of 3rd.
I thought it was 10. I thought it was 10, but either way, we've covered only part of season 1.
Yeah. And despite despite only doing 5 10-minute episodes, we still ended up being about just as long as our primal episode.
Well, I mean, this is a new format for us, so we will try. And you're right, there is 20. We're a quarter of the way done with season 1. Mm-hmm. But either way, yeah, we're trying a new format. So we'll get a system going. But in the meantime, I have no shameless plugs. What about you, Matt?
Matthew Lewis Podcasts on Twitter, Matthew Lewis Podcasts Patreon, Matthew Lewis Podcast YouTube, MOP Podcasts on Letterboxd. Check out my reviews of movies and shit that I'm watching. It's very, very fun. Check out my book, The Forgotten Minotaur King. Go buy it as soon as you can. Also, don't forget to check out old episodes of Action Toon Bros, Movie Garbage, the show I do with Ed, which should be returning hopefully someday soon, which has also been on a long-ass hiatus like this show was. My other show, rather book and show I'm working on still is I've hinted at it a bunch already and I thought it was going to be posted by now, but I also have not posted that. So a lot of projects in the works, but we're getting back into it. Work's clearing up, so I'm going to have more free time and schedule and shit like that. So that's all for my plugs for right now.
Yep, and for me, I still don't have any plugs. I'm just here. I'm here on the show, so I mean, if you guys have any questions for Matt or myself, any of those plugs that he did will help, and Matt will just say, "Hey, you got some questions" or anything like that. This is the start of a very interesting adventure.
Hell yeah! All right,
but yeah. From here, us at Action Toon Bros to you, we will tell you all to, as we always do, Keep it sleazy.